Hello and welcome to episode 19 of On the Bench.
If you build aircraft, ships, armour, automotive, science fiction, figures, or space, this is the podcast for you. On the Bench is available on iTunes, and now we're also available on Stitcher. So go right ahead to your favourite podcast app and mark us down as your favourite so you don't miss any episodes.
And hello and welcome to episode 19 of On the Bench. Thanks for being with us for this episode. And in the studio today, I've got Ian. G'day, Ian.
G'day, Dave.
And Julian.
Yeah, hey.
How's things, guys?
Fantastic, mate.
So, what's news?
What's news?
Yeah, what's happening in your world at the moment?
I'm a little bit closer to finishing a couple of the kits that I've been working on.
Yeah.
Yes. So I've finished putting my base coats down on my M7 Priest.
Yep.
Yeah, I've still got a lot of work to do. A lot of brush painting, a lot of little detail work, decals.
And still building your Japanese fighter?
Yeah. I'm sort of researching just how far the yellow leading edges go towards the wing root. It's not easy because the engines always block it in every photo.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
And I imagine that good quality photos will be hard to come by for that as well.
Yeah, a lot of the time you can't even see that the yellow leading edges are there.
The joys of modelling, mate.
Even on the clear photos, it's just the way the colour works. And
What about you, Ian? What you been up to?
Oh, not much. Still laying some paint down on the Model T.
You haven't finished that yet?
No.
It's going slow for you, is it?
Going very slow for me at the moment, mate.
Done anything wrong?
I kind of tried my hand at using the AK chipping effects, and kind of made a mess of it. So, got to take it back to the plastic and try a different way of doing it. And
See, I had no trouble. I had no trouble with OK chipping. I reckon it's nice. How'd you put it down? Did you spray it?
Airbrushed it, yeah.
Did you do the light or the heavy chipping effects one?
I did the light chipping.
Right. So you sprayed it down,
Yep.
waited for it to dry.
Yep.
Then put your
Colour on.
and then what did you do?
Water and a brush.
Yeah.
And I think I may have attacked it too early. I think that's what I did wrong.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm thinking I may have also put the paint on maybe just a little bit too heavy.
Right.
So for 1/35 scale, it just looked really rotten.
Oh. So you're going to strip it all off?
Yeah, strip it back.
And how are you going to strip it all back?
Oh, Gun's thinners.
Yeah. Just get in there with a brush and brush it on.
Brush it on. Doesn't affect the plastic at all.
Okay.
Gets rid of all the putty.
Yep.
Just means I just got to re-putty a few little areas. And
why don't you just attack it with the water and the brush until you got none of the top layer left? Then you don't have to take it back to plastic.
Now, there is a clever idea.
I might try that today. Take it all the way back.
Yeah, just take it all the way back with some water and
Yeah, so I even sat there and watched some tutorials yesterday, and this looks pretty easy, and but I'll 10 thumbs me at the moment. Yeah,
I've had no drama. I reckon it's a great little product.
yeah.
You can always go back and use the old hairspray effect, couldn't you?
Well, that too. I've got a little can of hairspray floating around in my modelling room,
Yeah,
so I might do that. But I'll see how I go.
yeah. Well, for me, I haven't been doing much at all. It's been a pretty quiet fortnight for me, actually.
Yeah.
No modelling. I've got getting closer and closer to my move and my new man cave, so I'm really reticent to sort of pull anything out and sort of start it.
Yeah.
So
You can always go shopping for all the shelves and tables and organising things that you can put in it.
Well,
you've never bought a house before, have you? Do you know? Do you know how much?
Don't forget, you do have a desk sitting at my work.
Oh yeah, I do. Yes,
That's a
yes.
big desk
I
too.
know. I'm looking forward to getting that too.
Yeah.
There's so many costs with moving and all the other stuff that I need to do, and buy window furnishings and all this other stuff. And oh my god.
See, if I was buying a house, that'd all be secondary. The hobbies come first because I'm still going to be doing those at the end of the day.
Yeah, deck out the modelling room and sit on plastic crates.
That's the dream, isn't it?
Yeah. First world problems, I think. First world problems.
Yeah, true.
So, be reading any good books or seeing any good movies or anything lately, guys?
No. No, actually, no. It's pretty much nothing's happened really much in the last 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
You know, besides everyone has to do their job at work and, get home and relax.
Well, following up from one of our previous shows, we were talking about, in episode 18, we were talking about wood grains. Brian Latour has actually posted on our Facebook page, and he's posted a link there. And Brian says, heard you talking about wood grains in the first 5 minutes, and I wrote an article on my trick for it. He's actually provided the link there.
Oh,
so
excellent. We'll have to check it out.
and this might be good for you, seeing
will,
your
yes.
doing your wood grain.
Always struggled a bit with wood grain for some reason.
So, for those of you who don't follow us on Facebook, pop along. Otherwise, I might cut and paste this and put it in the show notes as well for other people to have a look.
That's a good
at
idea.
The wood effect. And Nathan Hunt, following on, also posted. We were talking about air shows, and he said he went to the Chino Air Show in California last year, and they got some great warbirds flying like the F4U Corsair. And something I've never seen in the air before, the F7F Tiger Cat.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, that's a beautiful plane to see.
Yep.
Especially from the front. It's so narrow. The fuselage is so narrow, and it's got these big, wide engines.
It
And
looks like he supplied some photos as well.
Yeah, he posted some photos on Facebook, and so there he is standing next to the Bearcat, as well as a P-38. So, of course, if anybody else has got anything they want to drop on us, by all means, go to our Facebook page. Just do a search for On The Bench and we'll pop up in your feed. And, of course, if you want to get in contact with us, we'd love to hear from you, and you can do so by sending us an email at onthebench64@gmail.com. What else do you guys got for us today? Well, what are we doing today? We're talking about Gundam later on. So we're talking to Scott.
Yes, that should be quite interesting.
So I've got no idea what Gundam is or anything like this. So I'm hoping to be educated a bit more about it.
Yeah.
I know a little bit. Watched some of the TV series, but I haven't built any of the actual kits.
Yeah. No, I just don't really understand it. So I'll be interesting. I'll be standing by to be re-educated.
Yeah. Just hope it just doesn't mean I'm going to be spending more money.
Oh, well, we'll have to wait and see. The trouble is you hear all these things, you get so inspired, and you go, oh, yeah, I'm going to go do that. Go and spend more money.
Yeah. Then you open your cupboards and they're completely full, so you've got to start stacking your models on the floor.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Has your stash outgrown your cupboards?
It has.
Oh, no. What are you going to do?
Well, get a
Build
bigger
them.
place.
Get a bigger house.
That's the plan.
That's
Get a
the
bigger
plan.
place at the end of the year.
Oh, dear.
'Cause, yeah. That's my retirement package. I've got more kits than I'll ever build in my lifetime.
I see kits are actually your retirement investment.
Pretty much.
Slowly
yeah.
sell them off when you retire to fund your retirement.
Yeah, well, I've got some pretty rare ones in the collection. So that might help.
All right, guys, and on that note, I think we might go straight into our interview with Scott and hear what he's got to say about Gundam. And our special guest joins us on the phone, Scott from Scale Model Supplies. You might remember Scott from a couple of episodes ago, who we had on talking about his range of paints. Scott, how you been?
Not too bad, guys. How are you?
Yeah, not
Yeah,
too bad at all.
fantastic, mate.
Yeah, good.
So, Scott, you're going to step us through the world of Gundam.
Yep.
I've got to admit, I'm struggling to sort of really understand Gundam. I've done a little bit of research on it. And
Yep.
it seems to be quite a complex sort of world in the, well, is it, would you call it mecha? Would you call it robots? What?
Yeah, it's mecha. Yeah, you can call it robots, you can call it mecha, whatever you like. Basically, how it started was it's a Japanese animation show that started in the late 70s, and it's basically a story about war. And usually the main protagonists in most of the stories are usually young teenagers, and they take control of these giant robots, and then they end up fighting in wars to save the Earth against the people in space, pretty much.
Wow.
There's a long, complicated story, but it's all covered in the TV show. But you don't necessarily need to know all this sort of stuff to enjoy the models themselves.
What really surprised me was I did a little bit, as I said, did a bit of research prior to the program. But back in 2014, just the modelling side of Gundam alone was valued at around 170 million US dollars worldwide.
Wow.
And that's 4 years ago or 3 years ago. So 4 years ago.
They'd be even higher now.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, well, I imagine it goes up and down. Like it'd go up every time they release a new TV series, right? And then they'd bring out the models to accompany it.
Yeah, that's correct. They pretty much at the moment it's bring out a series, bring out some models to go along with the series, and they sort of sell each other.
So, what are the leading brands that sort of produce the Gundam models?
Well, Bandai is the only producer that's got the license because it's their actual intellectual property. There's other third-party companies that do produce, but it's a bit of a grey area with those ones, like most things. But Bandai is the main company. They produce several different scales, several different types. The scales are a little bit different in Gundam of what they are in regards to usual military and aircraft models.
So what do they usually scale out at?
The small stuff's usually 1/44th.
Right.
And the larger stuff, you get into 1/100th and then up to 1/60th, and then you can actually get a few that are up to 1/48th and 1/35th. But most of the time, the majority of the models that they produce are 1/44th and 1/100th.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken, they actually have, rather than actually putting the scale on the box, I think they give them like a name, like master grade.
Yes, yep.
All right.
They do put the scales on the box, but it's usually they tag each model with a grade. So they, depending on the complexity and the detail of the model, that's how the grades scale. So the easier models are in the high grade, then they go up to the master grade, which is the next scale up and the next skill level up, and then perfect grade, which are again another scale up to their 1/60th, and they're a lot more complex again.
Wow, that's getting pretty big.
Yeah.
I mean, because remember those robots are supposed to be like really 6 stories tall or something.
No, the 1/60th you're sitting, you're getting up about, you'd be looking around 30 centimetres tall or so.
Nice.
Depends on the model itself, because they vary in different sizes. The actual mobile suits that are in the shows, they're different heights, so they scale up depending on what the designs are.
Right.
We also they do go. There's there's about 5 or 6 I think available now, 1/48 scale, and they're actually up near 40 centimetres high.
Wow.
Some of the appeal, I guess, too, is you don't necessarily have to be a good modeller, because you can just sort of build it straight out of the box and not really paint it at all, because the parts come multicoloured. Yep.
That's one thing Bandai's worked on for years is the multicoloured runner. They usually have, usually when you buy a kit, they'll have X amount of runners, and the first runner, usually the A runner, is a multicoloured runner. So you have 4 to 5 colours of different plastics on that same runner.
Well, that's
and then
impressive.
the rest of it, and they actually inject them in stages to create one single runner with the multiple colours. They only do that on the one runner.
Yep.
The rest of the pieces are all single colour. But
Right.
they actually mould them in a certain way that, they produce them in a certain way that you don't have to paint, you don't have to glue. It's all snapped together, so you can just cut them off the runners and put them together, and you've got a finished model pretty much.
I should clarify that runner, for those people who don't know the proper terminology, the runner is the sprue that runs around the outside and holds the parts. Some people just call it sprue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What impressed me so much when I go to the model shows, usually there's a group of guys there, I guess from a Gundam club, and they actually sit there and just build during the model show. And so this goes snip, 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 glue it together, and the engineering that the kit gets, or I guess Bandai gets, is really, really impressive.
Yeah.
Well, I believe a lot of the kits don't even need glue.
Yeah.
Well, they've been working on this for since the 70s. They've been gradually. They even started this before they did Gundam. They had some other mecha stuff before they actually started with the Gundam property. And over the years, they've gradually improved their technologies and all to get to the point where they are now. And especially at the moment, if you've seen a lot of the new Bandai Star Wars kits, a lot of the technology that goes into those kits to make them as good as they are actually originates from the R&D they've put into their Gundam kits, which a lot of people don't realise. That a lot of, especially you might have noticed if you actually built a Star Wars kit, they've got the multicoloured runner in there on some of them. They've got certain, if you look at the instructions, they're all laid out the same way as a Gundam kit is, so they're nice and easy to read, even though they might be in Japanese.
I wish
they're laid out quite.
I wish that there would be a lot of other model manufacturers that would take a leaf out of their book. I mean, the other ones that come to mind for the engineering of the kits are Wingnut Wings and Tamaya.
Yes.
Two that sort of jump out. I mean, those kits just literally fall together, and they're engineered to go together with little no glue and not a lot of work required at all. But the Gundam, it seems to be just that sort of step a little bit higher where there's, as I said, I'll see these guys sitting down building during a model show and it's snip, snip, snip and click and there's a model.
Yeah.
Well, about a year or so ago, Meng did bring out their P51 that went together without glue, and that made a few waves.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
That's right.
Same technology.
Yeah, a lot of the companies these days are actually bringing out. I've noticed there's a few new Hasegawa science fiction kits that they're all snapped together. There's a lot of Revol. I think they do the easy fit ones now, which is snapped together. So Bandai sort of set that precedence years ago with the snap together kits, and now everyone's sort of playing catch up. To because when you think about it, this day and age, a lot of kids aren't getting into models like they used to.
Correct.
But the things that are sucking them in are stuff like Gundam, because they're from a cartoon show, and they're quite simple and easy to put together. They don't need to paint. They don't need the glue. They just need to know how to cut them off the runners and put them together.
Yep.
So it's pretty much just like building a Lego.
Yeah,
Correct.
I think
I was thinking that.
We've spoken about this before. I mean, the real four feeders into our hobby at the moment are Gundam, also World of Tanks and World of Ships.
Yep.
They're big feeders, as well as the old traditional, orcs and elves built by
the miniatures
by Warhammer. Yeah,
Games
Workshop.
Games Workshop.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they're the sort of four streams, as I see it, that are sort of still feeding into our hobby and, giving us the models of the future.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, that's correct.
I mean, old generations grew up around the Air Force and stuff, in the 60s and things, and that's what gave them inspiration.
Yeah.
And now it's a new generation of people getting into the hobby.
Yeah. And get them away from the computers.
Yeah.
Yep.
and their phones.
That doesn't work on me. I'm around both a lot.
So within the Gunpla world, is there any sub-genres in there?
Well, it's not just one sort of series. There's multiple series. So you got different in the actual animated series. There's different timelines, different stories, different sections of the different timelines that have different sides to them. So different factions, things like that. So there's multiple sub-genres in that regard. So for the main storyline, which is the 0079 Universal Century timeline, you've got the two main protagonists, which is the Earth forces and the Principality of Zeon. So you've got two different sides you can choose from there. Then you've got offshoots from all them, and then you move forward in the timeline, and there's offshoots again, and they form into different.
It's a lot like
again,
like parallel universes and stuff, right? Like, I mean, it's essentially like for the layman, it's almost like each different series takes place in like either a different time period or a different sort of universe where similar things are happening.
Yep. It's pretty much exactly like you'd think like a normal war would happen. There was different sides at the war, different factions that would come in from different parts of the war. It's essentially the same sort of thing, but it's just set in a fantasy world in space.
Yep. Fantastic.
So is there a requirement to actually paint the model? I mean, is there, within the Gundam world, people who don't paint the model sort of look down on by others? There is that.
That's just human nature.
It's the equivalent of rivet canning. So pretty much, it's people get they're called snappers. So they snap
Snappers.
and they say, "Oh, this guy's just a snapper. He puts it together." But in the end of the day, it's the person's model.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
If they want to build it that way, they can build it that way. And they're happy with that, they can do that. But there are some elitists in the community, like any other parts of modelling of the modelling communities around like even the military and stuff, there's always some elitist somewhere that's not happy with someone else's work. So it's the same as any other genre.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, one of our listeners, Andrew Thomas, he's just recently actually built a Gundam and he'll actually put it up on our Facebook page. Yep. He's asking the question, are there any sort of tips that you can sort of pass on to for building?
The main tip I always tell people is just have fun. Like, don't get your knickers in a knot thinking, am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? The beauty with gunplay in general is you can never be wrong. With a military model, you can paint it however you like, but there's someone somewhere who's going to say that wasn't the right colour paint in this time period. You know,
Yep.
The real hardcore river counters. With a Gundam model, they're make believe.
Yep.
They're not real. You got no reference except for the TV show, which is an animated, hand-drawn, sort of coloured-in thing. So you've got nothing to refer it against, so you can't actually be wrong. So you can do whatever you like. You can paint it like a car. You can do a high-shine candy effect and make it completely clean and make it like a car. Or you could paint it, heavily weather it and paint it like it's a military model. Or, you know, you can go to town and kit bash and throw multiple Gundams together and make some new suit that you've just designed in your head. It's you got a blank canvas with Gundam.
Yeah,
and you're not restricted by real life examples.
It's very like sort of for a beginner, it's very and it's a very easy learning curve, right? Because you don't necessarily need to paint it. You don't need to you don't need to clean up and watch for like seam lines and stuff as much as you would with an aircraft. So you almost don't even need tools.
Some with the seam lines you do. Some of the lower grade stuff, so the high grades and some of the older master grades do have seam lines. So if you do want to do a nice professional looking job, you still need to get rid of the seam lines, but it's still not essential. Bandai put the seam lines in certain places where they're very minimalised, so there might be one or two on a kit you need to get rid of, rather than like if you built an aircraft, you have to do the seam down the middle of the canopy, the fuselage and everything like that.
Yeah.
With Gundams, you might do one or two on the arms that join over the clip together over the elbow joints.
Yep.
So you're very, very limited on that sort of stuff.
Now, you mentioned before, you said I've been saying Gundam, but you use the word Gunpla. What's the difference between the two, if there is a difference?
Well, the Gunpla is an acronym of Gundam Plastic Model. So it's actually Bandai's brand name is Gunpla. So Gun from Gundam and Pla from plastic. So it's a Gundam model.
Okay.
That's where it comes from.
Yeah. So that's just their brand name they use. It's just so people can differentiate, because there's that many different. Because a Gundam in the show is a specific type and style of mobile suit, and then there's different variations and that sort of stuff. But the other side don't have Gundams; they have things like Zaku's and Zagoks and things like this. So they're not all Gundam.
Right.
It's just that the series is called Mobile Suit Gundam. So to differentiate against that, they brand name all their products Gunpla.
Okay, that makes sense.
I believe the Gundams are always piloted by the good guys. Is that correct?
Yes, and a couple of times they get pinched by the bad guys, and but generally the Gundams are on the side of the Earth forces. Yeah.
So if I was to walk past a group of guys sort of building their Gundam kits, and I said, "Oh, nice mecha," I wouldn't get stoned, would I, by them or anything like that?
No. It's all mecha. It's all mecha. Mecha's short. It's a shortening for a mechanized, robot. So anything that's sort of humanized looking or piloted is generally classed as mecha. So Gundam falls under that category.
Now, also, of course, with these kits, as with any other kits, you can sort of style them just so they stand alone, or you can have them built into dioramas as well. Yeah,
I've done many dioramas over the years. I did it's been a while since I've done a huge one, but I did one back in 2013, which I entered in the Gunpla Builders World Cup here in Australia, which I actually won and got to take it to Japan.
Oh, well done!
And displayed in Japan. Yeah.
That's huge.
That's a competition we have. It's actually sponsored by Bandai, and it's run here in Australia by Hobbyco, who are the importers into Australia, the official importers. We hold that every year in July, August sort of time. This year we're holding it in July in Sydney.
Yep.
And the winners, the first place winners in the adult and junior categories get to go to Japan and go to the World Finals, because it's held in, I think it's up to 16 or 17 countries now around the world.
And how often do the Japanese win that?
Sorry?
Out of curiosity, how often do the Japanese win those competitions?
From memory, I think it's been 2 or 3 times now. It's usually, Australia hasn't gone anywhere near winning the full World Finals, but it's usually the Southeast Asian countries do really, really well in that.
Oh, yeah. There's some amazing modelers out in Asia.
Oh, yeah.
And we only get occasional glimpses of them.
Yeah, it's a completely different culture when it comes to modelling in any Asian country.
So we were talking about before how it's a sort of real sort of blank canvas or freehand sort of modelling. Does that also include using LEDs and lighting the kits up as well?
Yep. There's a few newer kits that Bandai produce in the Master Grade range that actually have a LED plug-in part. So Bandai produce and you can just sit them inside the chest part, and just reflects up an acrylic tube and lights up the eyes and the head sensors and things like that.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
Very.
Yeah. And it's because of the way they clip together, the insides are pretty empty, so you can do a bit of modifications inside. You can put electronics in. Some guys have put motors in and used the Arduinos to the little programmable chips to program them to move. So they can actually move their heads and move their arms and legs and things like that. A couple of guys have used them, put little smoke effects in them, so the smokes turn on and off and just come out the vents.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah. And a lot of that's done with those little programmable Arduinos, those open source little chips you can get from JCar and that.
Yep.
Wow. That's really impressive.
Now, Scott, you still do. You've got a web page that's dedicated to Gundam stuff called The Ghost of Zeon.
Yes.
And I'll put the address up in the show notes so for people who want to have a look. But what impressed me the most is you've got a how-to section there which shows construction, lots of videos of construction, painting, detailing the kit, through the dioramas and some miscellaneous in there as well, right down to salvaging parts from an old DVD drive.
That's an old one, yeah. Especially with a lot of mecha stuff, you got to have a little sci-fi look around them when you're doing your bases and that. You can actually pinch a lot of parts out of old electronics. So I've used like circuit boards for bases before. I did a small diorama a couple of years ago where the base was supposed to be the side of a big spaceship sort of thing, but it was actually a motherboard from an old PC that didn't work. So I used that, ripped a lot of the components off and damaged it up a bit so it looked like it was a big section of a spaceship that had been torn off and was floating through space.
Oh, wow.
There's lots of little things like that. You can detail it. You get lots of springs and rods and things out of electronic parts and that, and you can reuse them to detail or just add small little details to your kits.
Well, that's classic sci-fi scratch building right there, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's right, going all the way back to Star Wars and the way they used to use like old armor and models to make all the ships in Star Wars and stuff. Yeah. Just grab what's around and
being sci-fi, as you said earlier, your imagination is the only thing that stops you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Gundam builders don't seem to be afraid to go ahead and do battle damage to their kits as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of battle damage because a lot of these mobile suits are used in the series. They're fighting in space, so they're using hand-to-hand weapons and they're using guns and stuff, white laser rifles and things. So there's a lot of parts blown off and slashed on their armor and things like that. So battle damage is quite a popular thing to do.
Well, I'll definitely post a link in the show notes because it's a great, even if you're not a Gundam builder, I mean, there's some great how-tos on detailing and doing...
Well, the website's actually, I haven't updated it for a long time, so most of the stuff I do now is on my Facebook page, which is under the same name, so facebook.com/The Ghost of Zeon. YouTube under the same username, so there's more stuff on YouTube again that's not on that website.
Yeah, and on the website you've got a link to YouTube and to your Facebook page there as well. So
yeah, Yeah, and I'm on Instagram as well, all under the same name. So you just look up Ghost of Zeon,
and there you are.
The Ghost of Zeon and everything, you'll find me. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, you've inspired me to even think about going and having a look at buying a
Gundam
model and seeing how they go together.
Yeah.
Well, if you're into military stuff and things like that, there's a line called the Universal Century hard graph line, and they're usually around 1/35th scale, and they're the military vehicles, not the Gundams themselves.
Right.
So there's a little flying bike thing from the Xeon side. There's a big massive tank which has got a double barrel on it.
I think I've seen that.
And there's things like that. And there's just it's more the military sort of. They're designed for more the military guys that are more into the highly detailed stuff. And they're usually 1/35th scale. So if you're not too keen on jumping onto the mobile suit bandwagon, you can get into it a little bit by using that line of kits.
1/35th scale hover bike sounds really cool.
The mobile Scout. It's a weird looking thing. It's like a bike, but it's got two. If you've ever seen Red Dwarf,
yes.
There's Starbug in that. It's sort of like that, but it's like a little flying hover bike thing. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because like in those TV shows, they don't just fight other robots, right? They've also got tanks and planes that they swat out of the sky and stomp on and.
They've also got hybrid ones as well. So they're like half tank, half mobile suits as well. So you got the gun tanks and that, and the Zaku tanks and things like that have got the bottom half like a military tank and the top half are actually a mobile suit.
Yep. Wow. Sounding more and more interesting to me.
So, Scott, around the world, is there like a like obviously there's IPMS for kit builders? Is there something similar for Gundam builders?
Not really. There's multiple groups from around the world. There's hundreds, to be honest. We just there's no set sort of club dedicated to just Gundam stuff. We just sort of group together in groups on Facebook and things like that, and forums and that. The ones we have here, our group that I actually was one of the ones who started is Gunpla Builders Australia, which is on Facebook, which is the largest Australian group. There's 3,500 members at the moment. Wow. And that's just people. Anyone can join as long as you like building models. You can join. Come and see what we do. Learn tips and tricks from all of us. And we're friendly to anyone at any skill level. So if anyone is because sometimes you get a bit out of sorts, people you start building, you don't know what you're doing, and you don't know what to ask, and then some people get a bit shirty towards you because you're new. But we're not like that. We want to encourage anyone and everyone to enjoy the hobby.
Correct.
So we're quite welcome for everyone to come in and ask any questions at all that they might have regarding building the models that they have. And we'll try our best to help everyone out.
Well, Scott, you've certainly opened my eyes up to the world of Gunpla and Gundam now. So
same here.
I'm coming away from this interview being a lot more educated than I was half an hour ago.
Too true. And it's just, and you can see how popular it's getting too now because they've just recently opened up a new store here in Victoria, Australia.
It was just it was mainly
Gundam's Plus, Gundam's Plus, in Hawthorne.
Correct, yes. Which must be good for all you Gundam guys, because now you've got a big store that's got everything.
Nearly every model shop in Melbourne's got them now.
Yeah.
So it's turning into a really big business.
Well, as I said, 4 years ago, $180 million, and that was just for the model kits.
Yeah.
Worldwide sales, and that's not with the movies and the manga comics and everything, and you add that to it, it's just a huge industry.
A massive industry, yes.
Yeah.
You also have to factor in that they also do. They've got the Star Wars license, so they're producing a lot of these Star Wars kits now. They've got a lot of licenses towards a lot of other Japanese animated series like Dragon Ball, things like that. So they're doing a lot more into the figures side of things, model kits and different figures.
Yep.
Almost any Japanese animated TV show that has notable vehicles of any kind, they have the licenses to a lot of those.
Yep.
Sounds like a smart business model.
Very, yeah.
It's too true, mate.
Well, Scott...
Well, no worries.
Scott, thanks very much for coming back and having a chat about Gundam.
It's been great.
Yeah, anytime.
You've been a font of information. As I said, I've certainly come away having learnt something, and we really appreciate you taking the time out to ring into the studio.
No worries at all, guys.
All right. Thanks, mate. I'll see you around.
You'll probably see you at Expo.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
See you, Scott.
Bye. And so we're back with what's new in the modelling world. And first off, right off the bat, we have got a large kit that's come out from Italy, which is a big Schnellboat, the S38 in 1/35th scale. Now, this will interest Ian because you've already built the other model of the Schnellboat.
I built the Revell 172nd.
The 1/72nd scale.
Yeah, in my opinion, that's a magic kit that goes together so well.
Well, this is going to be huge at
Oh, they'd be even bigger. Oh, yeah. Yeah,
And-
2-footer.
Yes, well, the length is 99.9 centimetres,
So nearly a metre long.
nearly a metre long.
600 highly detailed parts.
Yep.
Wow.
And it also comes with, obviously, your ubiquitous... I forgot the name of the word now. The... help me out here, guys. Brass.
Oh,
Photo etch. Oh, I had an old person's moment then. A bit of a brain fart. So it does say that this is a new mould, but it's not actually 100% new. It's the upgraded mould. So it's a sort of re-release, I guess you can call it.
It's like the old S100, but with a different cabin.
Yeah. Now, this one is the S38. That's with the armoured cabin, I believe, the armoured wheelhouse and everything. So you get all the development classes. So the S38 was the...
Actually, no, it's the S100's got the armoured cab.
Oh, so the 38 didn't have armoured cab.
I'd say it probably didn't.
Okay. Well, looking for the photos, it looks like it's going to be quite a lovely kit to put together, very detailed. And I'll be interested to know what the price of this is, because sure as heck wouldn't be that cheap either.
No, it'd be worth a few bickies.
But it'll certainly build into a beautiful, beautiful kit.
Yep. Too true, and the shots look quite nice of it too. Lots of photo etch.
You sure that that's not armoured bridge?
Well, it might be slightly armoured, but it's not the tapered armoured like the S100s.
Okay. So
they're more a low profile bridge.
It's certainly a lot of detail there in the kit, and it's just crying out for just a little loving kiss of paint, and it would just look absolutely brilliant in any modeller's display cabinet afterwards.
If you got a big enough
If you got a big enough meter long, it's fairly large, isn't it?
It's too true, mate.
Well, that's all from Italy. We've got some information coming out of Roden, because Roden have released a couple of kits, both quite interesting actually. The first one is the Cessna L19, the bird dog, and this is in 1/35th scale. And the decals...
1/32.
What did I say? 1/30... Oh, let me just put my glasses back on.
I think you better, Dave.
1/32nd scale. The decals that come with this kit, though, for the bird dog are mainly for the East Asian service. Although it looks like also there. I'm just trying to figure...
Thai, Laotian, Japan, and South Vietnamese. So a 1/32nd scale, that's going to be a reasonably large kit. And yeah, it is. It should build up quite nicely, I think.
I think it'll build up very nicely. And what I love is you can do the version of the bird dog that landed on the aircraft carrier back in 1975 as Vietnam was collapsing. It landed on USS Midway. That's where South Vietnamese Air Force Major Bung Le loaded his family up, including his wife and 5 children, in the little bird dog, and flew out and successfully landed. And I think that aircraft is now in a museum somewhere in the US.
Oh, right.
Unusually, they didn't sort of toss it over the side like they did with all the other helicopters and everything that were coming out of Vietnam at the time.
It was probably small enough just to stick in the corner.
It probably was. They've also announced in 1/35th scale a Holt 75 artillery tractor.
Oh, that'd be good for the World War I builders.
It will. So they're a strange looking item. It's a tractor's basically bare bones tractor really. It's got two tracks at the rear with a single steering wheel at the front.
Big steel wheel. Massive radiator.
They were mainly used, I think, for towing artillery pieces.
Yes.
And there are about 3 models, different built. Came with 120 horsepower diesel motor, I'm assuming. And the prototype was built in 2014 and production started in 1919.
Nice fabric roof. Not going to protect you against counter artillery, is it?
I don't think it's really designed for that. I think it's a long way off from him sort of thinking about armouring those sorts of things.
Too true.
Yeah. So that's it from Roden. Now, Airfix have recently announced their Martin B26B, I think it is.
The Marauder.
Yeah, I think it's their Marauder. Well, it is the Marauder,
and
yeah.
What scale is that going to be in? 72?
Yeah, 1/72 scale. So B26B Marauder. It looks like it's going to be quite a lovely little kit. It's going to come in a number of different schemes. First one's going to be the big hairy bird of the 599th Bomber Squadron.
That's the all-over metal with the shark's teeth.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Yeah, it's one of the famous ones.
Yes, which would make a beautiful kit, I think.
It does, yes.
As long as you can get the metal side of it done properly with your painting.
Yes.
Also, the other scheme's going to be flak bait from the 449th Bomber Squadron.
Pretty much a generic scheme for that one. It's a bit like he's putting the Green Hornet on a A20G Havoc.
Oh. I just wish they'd bring these things out in 48 scale. I mean, FX have been making so many sort of twin engine subjects that I like their Heinkel HE111, is it? Yeah. That's a really nice kit. I've seen that in the box, and that is a beautiful kit.
And I've got to say, the new Airfix is just fantastic.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned last episode, I picked up their new Walrus in 48 scale, the Mark 1, I think it is. Oh, that's a fantastically detailed kit. I look at that thing and I think, because normally I'm one of these people that I buy a kit and then spend the same amount of money, if not more, on detail sets. And I'm looking at this thing going, I don't need anything. Everything's there. It's beautiful. And if the Marauder's going to be like that, well, it's just going to be an absolutely stunning kit.
Well, they've certainly got a lot coming out this year. A lot of new stuff. They've got the in 72nd scale, the Sea Harrier, the FA2. They've got the Forker Iron Decker.
The Iron Decker.
Yep, in 1/72
They look great
scale.
in Turkish service. They just got a big black square on the wings and fuselage.
Another new release is going to be their Supermarine Spitfire Mark 1A in 1/72 scale, as well as a RAF Centenary gift set, which is the 100th birthday of the RAF this year.
And what do you get in that, Dave?
Looks like you get a Typhoon, a Spitfire, and a Sopwith Camel, all
cool.
in 1/72 scale, if I'm not mistaken.
Ah. I noticed on their website they've also looks like they're bringing out a quick build combi van.
Yes. I think we spoke about that a little while ago.
All right, yep.
The Vickers Wellington. Now, I have seen some sprue shots of this floating around, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. I think that's something that will definitely appeal to those of you who like building bombers out there, but this just looks absolutely gorgeous. And as you said, Ian, Airfix have really lifted their bar in recent times.
Yeah, since the takeover.
I'm just waiting for them still, and, I made the call last year that they'd do the Queen Elizabeth class aircraft carrier in 1-350. I haven't seen it yet, and I'm still trying to hunt down some sources, but I know that the actual company went sniffing around and got some photos and some measurements and stuff, so maybe that's going to be held over until 2019, so fingers crossed, because I'd love to build that
That'd
carrier.
Be a big beast in one.
It'd look gorgeous in 1-350 scale.
Huge. And
with the split islands and everything, so I'm terribly excited about the prospect of that coming out. And I just hope that Trumpeter don't sort of beat them to it.
Well, it depends which Trumpeter team does the research.
That's true.
You want the Trumpeter A team to
You want
do it,
the A team to do it, don't you?
Not the B or the C team.
Oh, well, that's about it from what's new. I haven't got anything else. Ian, have you got anything?
No, not really, no.
What about you, Julian?
For those who like Warhammer, big announcement there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
The Plastic Sisters.
Yeah, Plastic Sisters of Battle.
Those who don't know, the Sisters of Battle. People have been whining for years. Can we get those in plastic? Because
everyone wants Deborah Harry in power armor.
Hang on. Whoa, back. Just what are we talking about? What are Power Sisters?
They're called the Sisters of Battle, and they're just women in armor, and people have wanted them for a very long time.
Women Space Marines.
Yeah, because like all the old kits of these sort of characters are in the old
lead pewter.
Yeah, lead pewter and I
very
think
old,
maybe
dated.
resin, maybe I don't know.
No, I don't think
it's really old stuff, and it really needed sort of an update. And no one would thought it would come, and then just out of the blue, they announced it. And not only did they announce it, they also said that they would be showing its development from the very start all the way along.
So, in the lore of Warhammer, did women serve in the Space Marines?
No.
Well, no.
Oh,
that's why they have the Sisters of Battle as an alternative kind of
Which
thing.
used to be known as the Sisters of Silence, I think.
Yeah, something like
Going
that.
off
Yeah.
The old.
Well, they take some liberties with changing things around. I think, updating things, making it a bit more.
But hey, look, you've got women in power armor wielding flamethrowers and melter guns.
Well,
how cool is that?
What was the sort of women's movements and things nowadays? Some people have been saying, "Oh, we need females in the Space Marines," and this is in keeping with the law, and it was already there, so they may as well update it. It was the sensible option.
Yeah, that's right.
Almost anyone who's into Warhammer would have already known about this.
Yes.
But if you were interested in the past, this would come as a surprise.
Yeah.
Well, it's come as a surprise to me.
And also, they're also releasing Games Workshop in the standard fantasy Warhammer some Sea Elves or a whole new faction.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that, but they made a lot of because Adepticon, which is like a big convention that they have in the US,
right,
for all the Warhammer type stuff, that happened very, very recently, and obviously, much like with our military modeling, these sort of shows are a good time for them to release and announce new products that are coming out. Get everyone pumped up.
Yes.
Start, saving that cash.
Their money, yeah, because we all know the old Games Workshop isn't a cheap hobby.
Yeah, but I mean, this is actually a big turnaround because they've all formerly been very secretive about what they've been working on.
That is correct.
And now they're doing a complete about turn, saying they're going to let you know every step of the way.
Yeah, about time.
And they'll find out, much like in our sort of world, that people will use every moment to bitch and moan about all the little problems that they perceive in these new products.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. You mean that there are rivet counters in the Warcraft world?
Oh, the
Warhammer
world. They're worse than plastic modelers, some of them. But
people
you don't need to be a gamer to enjoy them. I used to do it myself years ago, and I've still got probably 60-odd Chaos Space Marines floating around in a box somewhere at home. And just as a painting exercise, they're fun. It's like you'd use your imagination.
Well, Adepticon, the event that they really announced all this stuff at, they do have classes there on how to paint non-metallic metal, how to paint
that looks
flesh
fantastic.
faces, and techniques like how to put stubble on someone's face and the sides of their head if it's shaved, to make it look really authentic. It definitely ties in with the greater figure painting world.
Yes.
But the thing that amuses me in the science fiction world and the fantasy world is how you can have rivet counters because the whole thing's made up anyway.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
they counterintuitive.
They follow a law sort of thing. They have the law.
And also there's like the it's like anything. There's always going to be people looking to pick at other people's stuff and hold themselves in higher esteem than others and blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
It's just human nature, right? You see it in every facet of life.
Let's stone all the naysayers. Let's stone them all.
The hobby's there for fun, guys.
Absolutely.
But they do have a very good community, and it really shows these sort of events.
Huge community too. Very, very big.
Very talented painters out there too.
Oh yeah, you see some of was it the Golden Demon Awards?
Yeah, the Golden Demon. Well, this particular event has a Crystal Brush Award.
A crystal brush.
Yeah, And it's actually
crystal brush.
It's actually a crystal brush.
You'd keep breaking the bristles if it was crystal.
Yeah, well, I think I saw a photo of one person who'd actually broken their trophy, like the actual hairs of the brush part actually broke off.
Yeah, so they actually used it.
There's the thing. Why don't we have, we go to standard model shows and you get your little trophy or something like that. Why don't we have like the Golden Airbrush Award or something like that?
They do have
a golden airbrush.
Not
award.
a golden airbrush, but they have like you go to Model Expo here in Melbourne. They got like best paint job and best of a certain category. You even get best of brand,
but it hasn't got the panache of like the crystal brush. I mean, you can really.
I'm pretty sure with the Melbourne Model Expo too, the best of show award, you don't get to take the trophy home.
You could really saunter down the street if you'd won the strut or mince down the street if you had won the crystal brush award.
Well,
you?
I mean, like the
certain panache to it.
I think. Well, I mean, I think the going from complete beginner to complete like professional level kind of stuff within figure painting is a much wider chasm, I think.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Because it's like infinite levels of complexity and detail and simulation of huge, metal and
that huge show they have in Europe. What is it, Euro Militaire or whatever it is?
Oh yeah,
and
that's
you see
mind
the
blowing
quality of the figure painting and some of the scratch building figures that people do in that.
Yeah, for example, like I've seen figures where it's like a character wearing a steel helmet, and not only has he painted in the reflections into the helmet, he's also painted in like a red light source coming from the right into the helmet.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
Forced lighting perspective.
Yeah, forced lighting and stuff. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I remember seeing one I think I got a magazine at home because even the Euro Militaire, every year they bring out a magazine of the show. And it's a thick magazine, probably 60 plus pages. And the one I've got at home was probably about 10 years ago, but a guy did like a dragon hunter, a guy taking on a dragon, large scale, and everything was scratch built.
Wow.
And it was just the most amazing build and paint job I've ever seen. It was just blew me away.
There are people out there working on things for like decades, right? And then they'll come out with this thing and you're like, where did this guy come from? I've never seen him before.
And you look at it, and you go, well, I think I'll just take up stamp collecting.
Yeah.
Or in our case, model collecting. We just collect the kits and we don't build them.
Yes. Too true, mate.
But, at least it's something to aspire to, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely, mate.
Well, speaking of aspiring, I think that brings us to about the end of the show, actually. Now, next week, what are we hoping? The next episode, we're hoping to get
Hamish back.
To talk about
model airliners.
He hasn't been on yet. We were going to record, but
right.
unfortunately we got all mucked up with me having to work that particular weekend. So we got our guests out of line. So hopefully we get Hamish on next fortnight. We'll be able to talk about airliners, which I know nothing about. Yep. I kind of get it. I understand it. But it's sort of a bit like Gundam, I don't know.
It's all foreign waters.
It is all foreign waters, yeah. So it'd be really interesting.
He'd be a handy guy to have him back for a few other episodes.
Yeah,
he's pretty good with his cars and
king of decals too.
He's pretty much of a maestro when it comes to decaling.
Yeah, okay.
So he might be able to give some punters out there some hints and tips on how to do your best decal applications.
Oh well, so stand by and continue to make sure that you have us listed as your favourite on your podcast app. And as I said earlier on, of course, feel free to drop us a line. We always love hearing from our listeners. You can get in contact with us two ways. You can leave us a message on our Facebook page, or you can send us an email at onthebench64@gmail.com. And we welcome any suggestions for subjects in the future.
Yep.
And more than happy to have a chat with you as well. So
no worries.
All sounds good. So, Julian, you got anything else any parting words?
Not really. I'm out of them after the last time when I told everyone to go buy more kits.
Ian?
This is for Robert. The merch is ugly.
All right, on that,
on
that cryptic note, I'll say goodbye. Good modelling, and we'll see you in a fortnight.
Because Robert was going to ride in and have a go at me.